All right, hello, my friends. Welcome to today's session. This is a brand new webinar, 1 hour webinar hosted by Prevention Plus Wellness LLC. My name is Dr. Chudley Wirch, and I'm president and founder at Prevention Plus Wellness, located here, beautiful and rainy St. Augustine, Florida. Believe it or not, we've got a hurricane. It is, the world's crazy, isn't it? I mean, it's hard to believe. It's almost midway through November, and the hurricane season is over at the end of October, and here we are having another hurricane. So we will carry on and do what we have to do to do what we must. And I thank you all for joining us. This is a sold out session. And so thank you for all of you who are joining us from across the country and abroad for this new topic. By the way, thanks to you, we're offering this topic. So I had a SurveyMonkey survey sent out a couple of times, and this is the topic that you wanted. This is what you really wanted to hear from. You can learn more on our website, preventionpluswellness.com. Under the tools, that's TOOLS header, a lot of free resources for those of you in the prevention and the wellness arena, especially those of you that work with youth, children, young adolescents, older adolescents, as well as young adults. So this is the key topic. We have a whole bunch of extra information, more than we'll be covering today, under the heading of healthy lifestyle guidelines for youth goal setting. But we're going to spend an hour talking about it today. I'm going to stop several times and get your feedback, see what you think, see what you suggest for more topics in this area. I'm wondering, and I'm thinking we could really expand this more. And so I'm going to ask for your input, your feedback. So get ready to do that. All you'll need to do is find your chat option on your toolbar, and you'll be able to type in your responses as we go. And so I'm going to just check that little chat option right now. See, we've got everybody just saying hello, good morning, and that kind of thing. So that's awesome. All right. So what will everybody get from today's session? After today, everyone who's registered will get a PDF of the slides I'll be showing you. You'll also get a link to this recorded session. Please do share these widely with your friends and colleagues from around your region, your state, your nation. And for those of you that are listening in, you'll also get a certificate for 1 hour CEU credit. All you have to do is type in your name and make a copy for your record. So happy to do that for you. If you need anything else, let me know. You could reach me at our website, preventionpluswellness.com, and we have a little message link in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. You can send me an email through that, or communication through that, or you can email me at info@preventionpluswellness.com. All right, so I've been criticized for spending too much time before launching. I apologize. It's a weakness of mine. So let's take a look at what we're going to be covering today. These are the webinar objectives. There's 3 of them. First of all, I'll be defining what I'm talking about by healthy lifestyle guidelines. Secondly, we're going to look at guidelines for youth, particularly in 7 areas. And you can see those areas there: physical activity, nutrition, sleep, controlling stress, goal setting, mental wellness, and alcohol use. Of course, all those topics and more are discussed within Prevention Plus Wellness programs. Prevention Plus Wellness programs, for those of you that are new to our free webinars and training, et cetera, are integrated programs. We integrate the prevention of substance use, whether it be alcohol, tobacco, opioids, cannabis, e-cigarettes, or other risk behaviors that aren't even substance use, but are associated with substance use, like racial discrimination. And we integrate those with the promotion of wellness behaviors. These behaviors that promote not just physical health, but also mental well-being. And those are particularly focused on our programs: physical activity, sports, breakfast, nutrition, sleep, stress control, even spiritual practices. Okay, so that's what we do here. third objective, I'm going to be showing you a bunch of resources. They're going to be shown to you as links. And when you get this PDF, you should be able to just click on those links and go to those resources. Or you can go to our website, one more time, preventionpluswellness.com. That's preventionpluswellness.com. Go to tools, and then you'll see the drop-down menu, and you'll be able to see this topic right here as one of those topics, the healthy lifestyle guidelines. And you'll see all kinds of extra content that we're not even going to be able to cover today. So what are healthy lifestyle guidelines? These are evidence-informed health recommendations and resources. So some are recommendations, some are resources. Try to find as many recommendations as possible. You can't find them in some of these areas. So what we did was we wanted to make sure that you had some tools. So that's why we have resources as well. And this is for, now, what good is this? Why do we have this? Well, in our case, and by our, I mean Prevention Plus Wellness, part of the interventions that we provide at Prevention Plus Wellness, these integrated substance use prevention plus wellness programs, is that part of the model that we use is we have goal setting. This goal setting is a multi-behavior goal setting. It's a two-phase goal setting. You set goals to avoid substance use or other risk behaviors, and then increase protective wellness behaviors. So for that reason, these evidence-informed healthy lifestyle guidelines are good for that. It helps you as a professional, parents, and youth tell them what their goals should be or could be for them aspirationally in the future. So, and then just knowledge-wise, very, very, very good content that you as a prevention and health specialist you'll use that yourself, but then again, you may want to share it with other teachers, coaches, providers, and youth themselves so that they could gain knowledge in each of these areas. Now, these healthy lifestyle guidelines on our website are broken down into two developmental levels: youth, children, young adolescents. I think we try to cover all those areas to the extent we can if there are those recommendations and guidelines are available. And then secondly, for young adults. Today, we're going to be focusing really just on the youth. We're not going to be focusing on young adults. If you want to find the young adult content, the guidelines for young adult, go to our website, preventionpluswellness.com. All right, so, and the 7 topics that we'll be covering, we're going to go through all of these. And by the way, we continue to expand this, add to this, develop this. So here's how you can help us and then help others in your profession. If you have a guideline, a resource to a guideline, and you'll see what I mean by a guideline when I show you some of these. I'll just give you one example. Centers for Disease Control, guidelines for physical activity. That's a guideline. It's evidence informed. It used to be more trusted before the pandemic, but Centers for Disease Control and Prevention still a critical source of evidence-informed information. So if you come across something like that, that is not listed on the resources that we're presenting today or on our website, or you have an idea for another topic other than these 7 that fit within prevention and wellness, please let us know as we go along today. Suggest topics, suggest resources, or even after the presentation, because after today, I'm going to be sending everyone who's registered today an email. If you don't see it, look in your spam folder, because sometimes it gets sent there. Because of the attachment, you're going to have a certificate for 1 CEU credit, 1 hour CEU credit. You're going to have a certificate, or you're going to have a PDF document for these slides. And then again, like I said, we'll have a link there for this recorded session. So that's what we're going to be doing. That's a healthy lifestyle guideline, something that has from a reputable source, as reputable as we could find. We rely on you, though, to check that and to give us feedback and to correct this if necessary. So what's this about? Multiple behavior goal setting. I already described it for you. Prevention plus wellness programs are evidence-based practices, screening, brief intervention. 3 parts of them: screen youth for current health habits, provide feedback on those health habits using positive image communication, which trigger future images of themselves being more fit, active, healthy, successful. This increases motivation for change. And then using that motivation by helping youth set goals to not just avoid substance use, other risk behaviors, but improve wellness behaviors. And this goal setting is, as you can see in the bottom, there are two components to it: set goals to avoid or reduce substance use, as well as to increase protective wellness behaviors. So that's why these guidelines are so important, because they lead, they direct, they suggest important goals for young people. And you'll see what I mean by that as we go through each of these topics. So let's start first with physical activity, PA. And so these are the guidelines. I took these from our website. You could read more, particularly because, again, we're focusing on youth today. We're not covering young adults. So if you want to learn more about young adults, and again, we're only able to show so much of the content from our webpage. Please go to our webpage and check it out under the tools heading and under the heading of healthy lifestyle guidelines. Okay, so here we go. Let's start with physical activity. And I'll ask you what you think about this. I'll ask you if you have any other ideas for topics, for resources. You can always send them to us. You can post them in your chat, or you can send them to us through our website. So what's the recommendation for physical activity for youth ages 6 to 17 in the US and abroad? 60 minutes, that's 1 hour every day. What kind of physical activity? You could see it there. 3 types that are identified: aerobic, muscle strengthening, bone strengthening. Now, aerobic, most of you know, you're well versed in this, but let me just explain it. Aerobic means, heart and lung exercise, cardio. And so we're talking about 60 minutes of a combination of moderate and vigorous intensity aerobic, with the vigorous intensity involved at least 3 times a week, as well as, in addition to, I should say, aerobic muscle strengthening at least 3 times a week, bone strengthening at least 3 times a week. Now, what are the definitions for this? This is important for you to understand, and for you to help your youth and your young adults understand a little bit more. So from a simplistic point of view, moderate aerobic physical activity makes your heart beat faster. Anything that gets that heart beating a little bit faster, that's considered moderate aerobic physical activity. What's vigorous aerobic physical activity, or vigorous exercise, sometimes it's called, that's where you're breathing fast and your heart is pounding. That's where you're really unable to speak and talk to other people, because you're exercising. That aerobic exercise is so intense. That's why it's called vigorous. Muscle strengthening is anything that increases muscle strength, as you would guess. Climbing, push-ups, obviously weight training, where you're lifting. This morning I had the elastic bands, doing a little bit of that, free weights, etc., machinery, so forth. And then bone strengthening, jumping, running, anything earthbound will help develop bones for young people. So if you're floating, swimming is not bone strengthening. You have to be on the ground. You have to be on the earth to develop bone. So that's bone strengthening, PA. Any questions about that? Let me know. You can ask those on your chat option. So that's the recommendation for physical activity, PA, for youth ages 6 to 17. One more bit of information. Physical activity should be these 3 things: age appropriate, enjoyable, and offering as much variety as possible. Why? Because without that, it's not going to be done by youth. Remember, Youth Risk Behavior Survey data nationally show that most youth do not get an hour of physical activity every day. High school youth most of them do not get the required amount of physical activity. So you want to make it age appropriate. One example of age appropriate, and again, I think it's just common sense in a lot of cases. You're not going to have little kids, a small kid, start lifting free weights. That could be dangerous to their development. They could hurt themselves. Enjoyable, whatever young people find fun. Remember, when you're a young child, fun is anything: play, running around, tag, etc. It's natural. And then when youth develop into a young adolescents, older adolescents, that sort of disappears. So bringing back that enjoyment, playing different kinds of sports and activities here in St. Augustine. I don't know if I should share this with you. I'm started playing pickleball A lot of people say, "What's pickleball?" Pickleball is supposedly the fastest growing sport in America. I don't know about abroad, but pickleball is like paddleball. It's like tennis, but it's with a little, it's like a racket sport, but it's a little bit different, shorter court. Lots of fun here. I've been playing pickleball. But whatever it is for youth to play, that's great to get them to move the body, even if it's chores. Offer variety, offer young people differences, things to do, riding a bike, just fun things, easy things with friends, etc. So what are the sources for these recommendations, for these physical activity recommendations, 1 hour, 7 days a week? There's two sources there. You can see what they are: the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, cdc.gov, Healthy School Physical Activity Guidelines, Physical Activity Basics Children. So those are a couple. There's a lot others. Other organizations like World Health Organization, et cetera, do support, and other fitness organizations do support the idea of a minimum of an hour, 60 minutes a day, combination of different kinds of physical activity. Like we said, aerobic, muscle strengthening, bone strengthening, and varied as much as possible. And that is throughout those ages, 6 through 17. That's what we're focusing on today. Any questions? Anybody have any questions? Type it into the chat space. Do you have any other suggestions, any ideas, physical activity, and other resources that you want to recommend? You could type those in, or you could send those to us at info@preventionpluswellness.com. Physical activity, it's a challenge. Youth need it. It's like a foundation to wellness. Physical activity is just absolutely critical. All right, and youth aren't getting enough of it. So here we go. Let's move on to the second topic. By the way, before I do that, let me check and see if there are any comments in chat. I'm going to pull it up, see if anybody, just a good mornings and nothing really there. Okay, all right. So, but remember, you got something to say, you got something to share, you have questions, write it in the live chat. All right, let's take a look at healthy nutrition guidelines. Now, we're going to get more complicated as we go along. We're going to have more content as we go along. So a bunch of things here. You can see 9 items selected. These are just regular guidelines, suggestions, if you will. Lots of things here, and I'll show you the source in just a moment. But we've got eating 3 meals a day with healthy snacks. So I guess true confessions today, having a half of a pumpkin donut like I had today, not a healthy snack and not a good meal. So I did get some protein then after that but hey, it's fall, and so I couldn't resist half of a pumpkin donut. Hey, it's all a matter of balance and moderation. So don't use me as an example, please. So that's 1, 3 meals a day. A good way to start. Increase fiber in the diet. I'm just going to read through these and you can just follow along. Decrease salt use, because salt is in just about every packaged product. It's everywhere. And so we get too much salt in our diet. Number 3, drink plenty of water. And do watch kids, because they should try to avoid those drinks that are high in sugar. Anything, those could be sodas. They could be fruit juices, lots and lots of calories and sugar. Actually, it's amazing how many calories and sugars are in some of these drinks. So be aware of that. Teach your kids to read labels. Whole fruit's always better because of the natural fiber, et cetera, in it. Eat balanced meals. I'm not sure what that is. I guess we'll learn a little bit more as we go along. That's a little bit vague. When cooking for your adolescent, try to bake or broil rather than fry. Of course, if you turn on the Food Channel, I love the Food Channel. What are they doing constantly? They're frying. Who doesn't love fried foods? Who doesn't like fried chicken, French fries, etc.? But again, moderation. Try to limit that. Try to bake. Try to broil. Try to avoid some of that extra fat that comes in that process of frying. Make sure your adolescent watches and decreases if necessary. Here's her sugar intake. There we go. There's that half of a donut that I ate today. Eat fruit or vegetables as a snack. And that means you're going to have to explore. You're going to have to try different fruits and vegetables. You have to look at what the grocer has for you and that what you can afford. I know a lot of times these healthy foods can be more expensive and you have to look for them sometimes at farmer markets. Decrease the use of butter and heavy gravies. That hurts me. That hurts me there because who doesn't like butter? I'm not a big gravy guy, but I love butter. I'm sure you like butter, you like gravy. So, and there are some good, healthy, reduced calorie options to butter nowadays. Eat more chicken, fish, limit red meat intake, and choose lean cuts at all times. So those are some regular, I know you've heard a lot of these things. You could share these things with your youth, but there's going to be more here. Let's take a look at this. This is a great tool to share with your youth. It's myplate.gov, choose myplate.gov. There's an image. That's the illustration. That's the icon right there. I don't know what that tells you, but it tells me there's 5 components to a diet. Unfortunately, I'm looking for where the donuts are on that. They're not on the list. So I really shouldn't be eating those donuts. Those are sort of off from the plate, off from the plate altogether. But the other thing that I've noticed when I see this is the portion of vegetables. So very important. Remember, nationally, data shows that young people are getting less than 3 vegetables a day. They should have, 5 or more. So really they're lacking in their vegetables. And then also notice grains are the next largest portion of that. That's whole grains. So let's take a look at what the MyPlate is all about, broken down. So here's some MyPlate food groups content for you. Number 1, foods, the grains are foods that are made from wheat, rice, oats, cornmeal, barley, other cereal grains and grain products. For example, whole wheat, brown rice, oatmeal. Those are the ones rather than white bread, rather than white rice, etc. So they're rices, they're grains, that are whole in nature. Secondly, vary your vegetables. Choose a variety of vegetables, dark green, red, orange, vegetables, legumes, that means peas and beans, starchy vegetable. All of those are good. Vegetables are good. But you want to vary them. You want to just eat potatoes. 11 servings of French fried potatoes, not good. But one French fried potato, fine if you have other vegetables. So you want to vary those vegetables and get some color in there, green, red, orange, yellow, etc. 3, fruit, any fruit, 100% fruit juice counts as part of the fruit groups. Fruits may be fresh, canned, frozen, dried, and they may be whole, cut up, or pureed. So you have these options. You can make smoothies. You can, play with your fruits and vegetables. Play with them. Process them at home and make them more palatable or appealing or different for your young people. So give them those options. And again, watch that fruit juice because that can be high calories. So take a look at it and high sugar. But nonetheless, we're moving into fall. We're in the fall, moving into winter. You may not have the fresh fruits and vegetables. There's going to be less of those, so you can use these other options: canned, frozen, dried, etc. 4, milk products. As you can see there, I'm just reading along with you. Excuse. Anything from milk considered part of this group. Fat-free, low-fat. That means 1%, 2% better than whole milk. They're high in calcium, and of course nowadays we have so many options. These options for milk products. If you have allergies or whatever to milk, you've got the nut milks, you've got cashew milk and almond milk and etc. Goes on and on. So lots of options, but the point is we're not getting enough. Young people are not getting enough dairy, and that could be low fat, yogurt and ice cream, etc. Cheeses. Go lean on protein. I like that. Number 5, choose a low fat lean meats. Poultry, vary your protein routine. So again, very, very important. So that's one of the keys that I think come up. Moderation, variation, very important. More fish, nuts, seeds, peas, beans, that kind of Mediterranean diet, very healthy and good for health overall and long life, those kinds of proteins. So Related to that, the MyPlate is a reminder for these things. Everything you eat and drink does matter. Think of it, food and drink as medicine. I think that's a great metaphor. The right mix, combination, variation can help you be healthier now, almost immediately, and in the future. So here's some 4 points. Focus on variety, amount, and nutrition. Choose foods and beverages with less fat, less salt, less sugar, which are so prevalent in Western diet. Start with small changes to build healthy eating styles. So that's why when we set goals for young people, I often say one extra piece of fruit or vegetable a day would be a great way to start. And support healthy eating for everybody. There's the sources, choosemyplate.gov, and another source from Johns Hopkins Medicine. Good resources, and you can learn more at those websites. If you've got other resources, evidence-informed resources in this area or in physical activity, please share them with us. We'd love to review them, see if we want to add them. And again, if you've got other topics and these 7 that we're covering today, let us know. Now, before I go on to sleep, let me see if anybody had any comments in the chat space. So can we receive a copy of these slides? Yes, you will receive a PDF of the slides. No problem. And I'll be sending that out today. This is great. I just finished a parent workshop earlier today and discussed healthy choices, good nutrition. So wonderful. This you could share with your parents. And you're welcome to do that. So they might like these slides. All right, getting adequate sleep. First of all, let's just talk about some facts. There's 5 of them here. Sleep is as vital to your well-being as air you breathe, water you drink, food you eat. So you could say, and you're going to see some parallels, and you're going to see how these behaviors are interacting and associated with each other. So you might think of sleep as medicine as well. Let me just stop here for a moment. I see one Q&A. I want to pull that up. Can we have a copy of the PowerPoint? Yes, you can. All right, so sleep, vital to life, to health, to functioning, productivity, etc. How you feel and what you can achieve and how you do in life. It can even help you eat better and manage stress of being a teen. So sleep is another foundational wellness behavior. Physical activity, yes. Nutrition, yes. Sleep, yes. Yes, yes, yes. All of these so very important. And they have almost immediate effects, and they have future effects as well in terms of brain development, body development. Number 2, biological sleep patterns shift toward later times, both sleeping and waking for adolescents. This is the conundrum. We have especially high school kids, older adolescents, they can't fall asleep till 11. Very common. Unfortunately, buses start running early in the morning. And so we have a setup in our society, at least America, where we're almost, encouraging a lack of sleep among especially the older adolescents. So we'll talk about some solutions to that to the best that we could find them. I know some schools have actually changed this around and started high school later on in the day. A good idea for overall sleep and overall health and performance of older adolescents. Number 3, teens need about 8 to 10 hours of sleep each night. Of course, that varies from person to person. Most teens don't even get 8 hours of sleep, believe it or not, according to National Youth Risk Behavior data for high school students. One study found that only 15% receiving 8.5 hours of sleep on school nights. Number 4, teens tend to have irregular sleep patterns, and they typically stay up late and sleep in on the weekends. And unfortunately, this really messes with their biological clocks and hurts the quality of their sleep. They're trying to catch up on their sleep, but they're not going to be able to. It helps them a little bit, but there's better solutions. We'll talk about those in just a minute. And lastly, number 5, many teens suffer from treatable sleep disorders. If you see evidence of any of these, do take your child or your youth to a physician to get that diagnosed if they're having any of these problems. All right, now let's start talking about solutions. 2 pages of solutions. This is the first page. There's 5 items. Make sleep a priority. One idea is to have your youth, and this is for you as professional prevention specialists, parents, etc. A good idea is to have your youth keep a sleep diary. This will help them decide what they need to change to get enough sleep and to stay healthy, happy, productive, intelligent, etc. These are really important positive images, by the way, and you could use these to help promote and motivate your youth to keep a sleep diary. And that is, when are they going to sleep? When they wake up, how do they feel, et cetera, et cetera. Just a diary, whatever they want to write about their sleep, to get a better handle on their sleep, to monitor and understand their sleep patterns, what comes before, during, and after sleep. Really important to increasing awareness of their sleep behaviors. Number two, naps can help. They can pick you up. They can make you work more efficiently. I'm a big proponent of naps, but it has to be developmental. Naps can't be too long. They can't be too close to bedtime. Otherwise, that'll interfere with regular sleep. So you have to find that sweet spot, 30 minutes, maybe 60 minutes, maybe not, maybe too long. Coming back from school, taking a little nap, a rest period, very important. So using naps can help supplement sleep and help you get that little bit of extra sleep that you need. Number three, make your room a sleep haven. I like that, a sleep cave. It needs to be cool, quiet, dark to the extent that you can. Get eye shades if you need to. I've never worn them, but blackout curtains if you can. I've sort of been struggling recently, still a little bit, with the time change that we have here. And so when I see the light coming through my window shades, I just naturally wake up. So I'm getting up a little bit earlier than I'd like. So you can try some of these options, and eye shades is one I've been thinking about. Number four, no pills, vitamins, drinks, melatonin, none of that can help long-term, maybe short-term, but you got to be careful because there could be rebound effects. They could have negative effects. So really that's not what you should be grabbing for. Caffeine close to bedtime is a no-no, whether that comes in cocoa or tea or coffee or caffeinated drinks. Nicotine, alcohol also interfere with sleep. And of course, we discuss these issues within our Prevention Plus Wellness program. Lastly, number five, when you're sleep deprived, you're as impaired as driving drunk. 100,000 crashes a year are attributed to a drowsy driving. It's very scary. So if your youth is driving, your youth or your young adult, you need to have a discussion about how sleep is so very important to brain and body functioning. This is getting adequate sleep solutions number one. Let's take a look at solutions number 6 through 11. Establish a bed and wake up and time and stick to it. This allows your body to be trained to natural patterns. It needs to have a pattern. You need to reset your sleep, your body's sleep clock, your biological clock. So this way it'll be easier to fall asleep and to wake up. This sleep clock needs to be set as close as you can throughout the week, not just 5 days a week, but all 7 days. Obviously in the weekend, it could be a little bit different, but you want to stay as close to that bedtime and wake up time as possible. Again, there are times when you can't do that, sleepovers, big events, whatever the case is. We're not talking about every day for the rest of your life. We're talking about developing a pattern. 7, don't eat, drink, exercise within a few hours of bedtime. This is where and again, I'm sorry about sharing my wellness mistakes, but that's why I love being in this field, because it reminds me of what I should be doing and helps me to continue to try to correct myself. I oftentimes eat snacks or whatever right up before bedtime. That is a bad deal. So that really interferes with getting to sleep. And so try to leave your homework, try to avoid leaving your home to the last minute. Avoid TV, computers, telephones, an hour or so before you go to bed. Really good. You can not always achieve these, but these are good rules. And so in other words, you want to go into a pattern, preparing for sleep pattern. Now you'll see more about this here coming up. 8, Do the same things every night before you go to sleep. Teach your body it's time to go to bed. Take a shower. By the way, taking a shower or bath at night is good because then it saves you some time in the morning from doing that. And that could set your clock that, hey, I'm getting ready for bed. Another thing that I see my wife doing, she's done it for years, she reads, and that calms her and prepares her. I do a little bit of reading at night, and I just fall asleep. So, I mean, it's great for that, for me anyway. So try that as well. Number 9, try keeping a diary or a to-do list. Just jotting down notes before you go to sleep. And that'll make you be less likely to stay awake and to worry and to stress. So jotting down, I'm a big believer in notes, to-do lists, whether you write those on a sheet of paper like this or a sticky paper or anything like that, or actual log or booklet, very good. It helps you work through issues and problems, and that will help you get to sleep. Number 10, instead of ruminating on them and worrying about them. Number 10, when you hear your friends talking about all-nighters, then you could tell them how good you feel after getting enough sleep. In other words, you can push back on that. Good luck with that. I mean, it's almost a lifestyle when you get into college. But for those of you that are going to be in college, but nonetheless, sleep so critical. And so again, continuing to try to get the sleep that your body requires for performance so that you feel good about yourself, so you have good interactions with friends and others, family members and teachers, etc. Lastly, most teens experience changes in their sleep schedules. Their internal body clocks can cause them to fall asleep later, as we have already said. Make sure your activities at night are calming. So you want to sort of set the stage to sleep. So everything calm, relaxed, and whether that's reading, a bath, or avoiding nicotine, caffeine, foods, exercise before bed, all these things really important. These are some solutions to consider. And the source is the Sleep Foundation. Lots and lots of good content. Sleep Foundation. National Sleep Foundation. Now let's switch to stress. Tackling the problem. I got a lot of stuff here, probably more than you're going to be able to consume at one time, but here it is. I'll go through it quickly. You can go to our website and you'll be getting these slides. So first of all, controlling stress, tackling the problem, 3 points to make. Identify and then address the problem. Is it a real problem or does it just feel like it? So really a cognitive process of separating out problems that are real versus just things that feel real and that you could set aside. A lot of problems come from schoolwork, and so breaking work into smaller pieces can really help you wrap your head around it and feel like you're moving in the right direction. Break it into small pieces, do one small piece at a time, make lists of what you need to do. This will help you sleep, as I said earlier. And timelines. I'm going to get this piece done tomorrow. I'm going to get this piece done next week. That can help you really identify and address the problem. Number 2, avoid stress when possible. In other words, just avoid it. Avoiding people, places, and things that cause stress and trouble. So reflect on that. Help your youth reflect on that. Find out where stress comes from. And then if they can avoid it, that's a good thing. Sometimes you can't, but if you can, do it. Third, let some things go. More easily said than done, but work on it. If you can't change something, then adopt the attitude, I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to let somebody else handle it. I'm going to let God take care of it. Whatever works for you, I'm just going to let it go. Don't take things personally is another related aspect. We all, to a certain extent, take things personally. It's all part of our ego. But to learn to not take things personally, very, very, very good attitude. So these are really attitudes to work on that can help you deal with controlled stress in your life. So let things go. Now let's talk about controlling stress, taking care of my body, and I added mind. These are things we already covered. So this is where you can see, again, the interactivity, the interconnectedness of these wellness behaviors and risk behaviors for that matter. exercise, active relaxation, healthy eating, getting adequate sleep are all a foundation for controlling stress. Exercise is number one, most important plan to manage stress. When you're feeling stressed, your body says, I've got to run, fight or flight. And so go do it. Get some exercise. Burn that energy. Exercise every day will help control stress and build a healthy and strong body and mind. Active relaxation. If you're in a fight mode, then switch to a relaxation mode by applying some active relaxation. It could be as simple as a breathing routine, 4-8 breathing routine. 4-8 is 4 seconds inhaling for 4 seconds, holding it for 8 seconds, and then exhaling it. So and there's many, you can just search online. There's so many different kinds of strategies for relaxation, including yoga. I think it's been awesome that there's been this increased awareness. You can go to YouTube. There's so many wonderful YouTube videos on yoga, especially those that build in more of a meditative component to it, a relaxation component to it. But just yoga by itself, meditation, prayer, all of those really, really good for relaxation, building that in to your routines to control stress. Eating healthy, already talked about it. Eat foods that keep you alert during the day and your mood steady. Those are healthy foods, not sugary foods, not highly processed foods. People who eat mostly junk food have highs and lows in their energy level, and that harms their ability and it reduces their ability to deal with stress. Getting adequate sleep, so very important to growth, to thinking clearly. Tired people can't learn. They're impatient, they're irritable, makes for bad social life and bad communication and lack of success in school and work. So controlling stress, that's the body, that's the mind, these things we already talked about. Dealing with emotions, a couple of things about that. Take instant vacations. These are great suggestions. Number one, if you find a favorite place where you can imagine yourself relaxing, then when you're stressed, sit down, lean back, take deep breaths, close your eyes, feel the warm sun on you, imagine that beautiful location, let you find a mini vacation right then and there. Number two, take time out for yourself. Everyone deserves time out for themselves. Bath, hot shower, anything, listening to your deep breaths, slow breaths, or even some very, very soothing music. Enjoying hobbies, very important. Anything creative is an instant vacation. Number four, look for beauty around you. You know, you've heard the phrase, stop and smell the roses. Enjoy the beautiful sky, enjoy the landscape, and be aware of the moment. Take mini vacations, literally physical mini vacations. Go to a park, oftentimes beautiful places, or a mountain, or a seaside, or a few trees, anything natural, flowers, anything. Take a walk outside, enjoy it. And lastly, reading, very good. I think for those of you that do read, like to read, it's a great vacation. You could really get into a different environment, sights, sounds, smells from reading. Reading is a great way to take an instant vacation. That's dealing with emotions, but also dealing with emotions, releasing emotional tension. Here's some suggestions. Creative outlets, again, really helpful. Art, music, poetry, singing, dance, rap. Powerful ways to let your feelings out. Number two, everybody needs somebody to speak to. Good friends, parents, because friends at a younger age can end up being a challenge. Your friend one day, fighting with your friends the next. So find an adult, a parent, or somebody that you could speak to, get advice from. Write it out. Number three, so very important. Diaries. Just writing about your feelings every day can have a critical and powerful impact on your understanding and addressing your feelings. So really good research on writing, keeping a writing log, excuse me, keeping a daily log of emotions, of things going on in your life, of things that are important to you. Really, really good research shown on that helping you deal with stress. Very powerful strategy. Write it out. Even if you're not a good writer, scribble it out, type it out, getting into that process of a daily log. Number four, many young people find prayer, meditation helpful. We've mentioned that, laughing, crying, giving yourself permission to experience and express your emotions, all part of releasing emotional tensions and dealing with emotions. Making the best of the world. This is the last slide in controlling stress. Young people who work to make the world better have a sense of purpose, feel good about themselves, handle their own problems better. So really giving back and making a difference and having a sense of purpose, really, really, really important to you. You get more in return than you give to others, but it's just a critical strategy to personal development, giving back to others, your time, your talent, even fundraising. It's important to understand that you can really make a difference in the world, and teenagers are so important. They are the future. You'll see mistakes that your parents made in adults. It's so obvious. It's even obvious to adults, but we seem to be trapped in our mistakes. So young people, take heart. You can do things better. We are hoping and praying and relying on you to make a difference in our world. And there's some couple of different resources. There's CDC.gov, violence prevention, suicide, coping with stress, and another one on building resilience. I tried to open that first link and I couldn't open it earlier, so hopefully that's working. I'll have to double check that. All right, let me stop at this point, see if anybody has any questions, any comments. I'm going to check the chat option right now. Did I miss anything? Anybody have any, write anything in the chat that they had to make a comment about? How to manage laziness, not able to follow routine. Okay. Okay, let me go back. That's a good question. All right. Please mute barking dogs. Listen, I'm sorry about the barking dogs. I really apologize for that. We're dog sitting my daughter's dogs. We have 4 dogs in the house. They're on the other side of the door. I've got a microphone. I'm doing my best. Hope sounds like somebody's taking care of the dog. So my apologies for the dog. When they get together for sleepovers like this, it's like having a house full of kids. Sorry about that. And I should have. Anyway, I can't say anything more about that. All right, a question I've been getting lately from parents is that due to the pandemic and hybrid virtual learning, students get less sleep than ever due to gameplay, as this activity acts as their social interaction. Parents ask how they can combat this. That's a really tough one. I would say just by being aware of it and setting limits on it and encouraging youth to actually get outside, or in bad weather, get inside and do something physical, give them some options for that. But yeah, too much time online takes away from time physically moving the body. The on time, yes, you have to have some on time for interaction, for friends. The gaming is another thing altogether. That should be limited, I think. But again, parents have to monitor that and set limits on that and encourage other things that we're talking about here today related to physical activity, nutrition, sleep, stress control, and maybe even having them go to sites that they can learn more about, let's say, relaxation techniques, physical activities indoors, etc. That's just one idea. If other people have ideas, please help answer Julie, because I think that's really important. How do you manage laziness, not able to follow routine? Okay, I wouldn't call it laziness. I would, again, that's, if you're going to be saying lazy, that's a negative connotation. That young person could lack motivation. There's a lot of reasons for that. I think prevention plus wellness programs are specifically designed to increase motivation by using positive image communication. You may want to learn more about what we have to offer in that area using positive image communication. Our webinars will teach you more about that if you continue to take them, and to use that to help increase motivation. But know this, I'll just share something with you from my personal experiences. I have 3 kids, they're adults now. 2 of them very motivated, 1 of them not motivated. And they're just different. They're different brain development, different psychology, different biology. And so the one that was not motivated took much longer. My youngest male took much longer and slower process. So that's part of it. And so some you could change, some you could not. You could just support and continue to encourage doing the right things and making healthy choices. Not following a routine, that almost suggests some learning issues. Make sure your children, it's common to have learning, I don't want to say disabilities, but learning challenges. My wife's a special ed teacher, so not uncommon to have issues with attention and learning. It could be these things, and so you may want to have a teacher or a psychologist or professional do an assessment on that. I'm not that person to be able to speak to that, but I'm just raising that as an issue. And I hope I'm not offending you by suggesting that. So that could be something, it could not be. Sorry, didn't know that it was his background. I love dogs. Great. Okay. All right, stress. Enough of the stress. Let's talk about goal setting. Oh, we got a lot here. I'm behind. I didn't realize it was going to take this long. I thought we'd be going through this much quicker. So goal setting, I'm just going to say, the only thing I could really find for recommendations came from the Centers for Disease Control Prevention Healthy Schools standard number 6, which stated, quote, students will demonstrate the ability to use goal setting skills to enhance health, unquote. Why? Goal setting skills are essential to help youth identify, to adopt, and to maintain healthy behaviors. Goal setting, critical. Goal setting is a part of all prevention plus wellness programs. This standard includes critical steps that are needed to achieve both short and long-term goals. And these skills make it possible for individuals to have aspirations, plan for the future, which young people oftentimes lack. So you're forcing them, I shouldn't say forcing, but you're encouraging them to look forward, to look to the future of which they have. And that goal setting does that. Also, I think equally important, goal setting on a regular basis helps them develop self-regulation or self-control skills. They learn the process of shaping their own skills. And remember, people who set goals are successful, entrepreneurs, athletes, etc. Goal setting, very, very important in so many different aspects of life. When I was working on my doctorate back in the day at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, I was sort of stuck after taking so many classes. I just wanted to continue taking classes. I needed to write a dissertation. I couldn't handle with the switch from structured classes to unstructured dissertation, identifying a topic, starting review, writing the document, etc. I went to a psychology workshop on setting goals, and that made all the difference for me. I made short-term goals to move me in the right direction, and it helped me to get myself back on track and to complete my doctorate. And so that's just one small example. So goal setting, here are the recommendations from CDC. We have recommendations for younger kids on our website under the healthy lifestyle guidelines, but just here are the grades 6 through 8, middle school grades, and 9 through 12 high school grades. These are the short-term goals, or what are they called? I can't remember what they're called. But the priorities, there's 4 of them for each middle school and high school. For example, middle school, assess personal health practices, develop goals to adopt, maintain, improve personal health, apply strategies, skills needed to attain personal goals. So it's not just personal goals, it's also the planning and the implementation, the monitoring, and the maintenance of goals, both short and long term. So very good. These are guidelines for setting goals, and I think we do a great job at Prevention Plus Wellness with our goal setting. Mental wellness. I really wanted something in the mental health area. I could not find anything. I found this from the American Mental Wellness Association. I think it's unique, not so much guidelines as resources and things to consider. So there's two age groups here I'm showing, but there's some younger ages on their website you could read about if you want to. And what they do is they highlight four areas: the biophysical, as well as the psychological, social, and spiritual. I'm not sure all of these make a whole lot of, not complete sense, but nonetheless, I think some good things to think about. So here for the middle school age kids, and you could read this, and it goes along with what we've been talking about. So for example, under biophysical, good diet, exercise, stress is going to be an issue with homework. And so sleep, very important. All those things we've discussed already and set goals for and identified guidelines for. Psychologically speaking, the need to fit in with peers, that sort of, put up against, if you will, or challenged against the need to be unique and find their own identity. That ends up being some conflict, some source of stress for young people. Just realizing that is important. Being open to your youth, to talking to youth, have parents recommend parents continue to chat with their youth about these stressors in their life. Young teens may start to develop teenage attitude. For those of you who had teenagers, so glad that that's over. Both as a teenager and as a parent of a teenager, it's a challenge, let me tell you, but you got to stay in touch with your youth, stay in communication, stay close with them, monitor them, and communicate with them. Teens need to understand the whys behind action. So when you do disciplining, when you talk to teens versus children, you really have to explain why. I mean, you got to explain the cognitive, whereas when they're younger, not so much. Socially, a lot going on, complex relationships, fighting, romantic partners, dating, all kinds of things going on, peer pressure to experiment with drugs and sex. You're really going to need to keep a watch on your youth, know where they're at, what they're doing, communicate with them. Spiritually, they're much more aware of their future and where they're headed. So schools may offer aptitude tests. This may increase stress. And so really, it's sort of a balance. You don't, this is also an age where, suicide ideation increases. I mean, the stress can be really, from middle school through high school, really intense. So you want to sort of balance it. You want your youth to be healthy, to happy. You want them to be their best selves. You want them to compete against themselves. But do watch that, because it can be too much for them. And then you've got, at the same time, you've got some that don't want to compete, that don't want to be their best self, and you need to motivate them. Very, very challenging. The beauty is that now we've got a wealth of information at our fingertips with by searching online. Just make sure you follow reputable sources of information in terms of psychological, social, spiritual, biophysical development for your youth. And then the same with high school kids, pretty much the same, a little bit more of everything. I'm shocked by under social that 1 in 3 teenagers may be in an unhealthy relationship, that violence is a part of relationships. Do be very aware of this. Talk to your youth about this. And sometimes youth are too quick, culture supports too quick jumping into serious relationships. This is just my perspective. I think it's healthier to sort of develop friendships than it is romantic relationships, even at the high school level. But that's up to you as parents, and do watch and support your youth, and do ask them about their stress level. So again, this was the best I could come up with. I thought there were some good things to consider, to think about here. Under spiritual, they are developing their own values at this point, and so this would be a good time to discuss beliefs and faith, and they may be different than yours as parents. So All right, that's mental wellness. Lastly, alcohol, just a couple of slides. I know we're out of time right now, but just a couple of slides. Highlight here, younger than age 21 shouldn't drink at all. The reality is that 6 out of 10 high school youth have tried alcohol, so that has to sort of been balanced. Then again, remember, alcohol consumption is associated with a lot of short and long-time health risks: motor vehicle crashes, violence, sexual risk, high blood pressure, various cancers, including breast cancer. And there are others who shouldn't drink, and you can see four of them: women who are or may be pregnant, those with medical conditions where their drugs, medication may interact negatively with alcohol, recovering alcoholics or people unable to control any amount of drinking really shouldn't drink. As you know, um, some people with alcohol problems can control their drinking. Many cannot. My brother had an alcohol use disorder. One of my younger brothers, 53, thought that drinking beer, he could handle it. He didn't. Ended up dying at age 53. It's a horrendous tragedy, and it happens all the time. So recovering alcoholics, it's not even a term that's used that often by some groups. Alcohol use disorder. If you have an alcohol use disorder, do get some legitimate, serious help with that, and support from others who are going through that. And number four, people who are doing things that require skill, coordination, alertness, such as driving a car, any kind of machinery, that kind of thing. Alcohol consumption is a real no-no. So, but you get to a certain point and you have to deal with, what are we talking about? When this transition from older adolescents to young adults, there's going to be an interest in experimentation and use of alcohol. So eventually you're going to need to talk about what's a healthy alcohol level. No alcohol use, very healthy. You're not going to have any risks. But if you do choose to drink as an adult, less than one drink is really, one drink for females a day, no more than 2 drinks for males. That's a recommendation from the 2015-2020 U.S. Dietary Guidelines for Americans. So that, from a dietary perspective and a harm perspective, and that's per day on average. I mean, it doesn't mean that you can accumulate those drinks and have them all in one day, like at a party in a weekend. Not at all the case. So moderation, very important with alcohol. And outside of that, we haven't included other substances because, as prevention specialists, you know this better than I, the goal is to postpone and to prevent substance use as long as possible, particularly beyond brain development. Now, brain development isn't completed until age 25. So really postponing substance use till then would be ideal. And the next best scenario is, moderation. But remember, we really want to have young people avoid alcohol and other substance use as long as possible. Let me see what other chat, and that, I think I'm just about done here. Let me just, and then we'll see what the chats are. Here's some more resources on our website. Great stuff for you guys. Healthy lifestyle guidelines for goal setting. All the others that weren't discussed today, there's the link. COVID-19 resources promoting prevention plus wellness program awareness. There's a link and resources. PPW program providers, brand new group. So if you want to communicate with other prevention and wellness providers, particularly those using PPW programs, free PPW webinar, sign up for them. Conclusions: healthy lifestyle guidelines are evidence informed, recommendations for youth and resources for youth, for young adults, for you as prevention and wellness professionals, for parents, very important. Also important for setting goals to avoid substance use and engage in wellness behaviors. We discussed 7 areas for healthy lifestyle guidelines. Do you guys want healthy lifestyle guidelines in other areas? Let me know. Chat me right now. Send me an email at info@preventionpluswellness.com. Let me know what you'd like. Guidelines are provided and great sources of information to guide us in our lifestyle choices as well as to set goals. There's preventionpluswellness.com. Look at the lower right-hand corner, message us. You could just click on that. Top corner says tools. You point your cursor at that, you'll see a whole bunch of free resources. We also have an online catalog, very easy to look at our most popular products, programs, and training. You could click on this and order up a sample of a menu, a sample of one of our programs to review, I should say. PreventionPlusWellness.com. There's our phone number, info@PreventionPlusWellness.com. Now, let me just see one more time if we had any other comments under the chat. I think we're getting a bunch of other things here. Let's see. Go all the way back. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great webinar. Thank you guys for your beautiful comments. I appreciate that. Let me go back. There's quite a few comments. Okay. Really like how you're categorizing stress remedies, natural approaches to stress reduction. I really like how you're, okay, read that. This was a great webinar. Really could have used these slides, staying healthy physically, emotionally, behaviorally. Yeah, we're talking about physical, mental health, social, emotional learning, all these things that you're all aware of. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great information, great webinar, lots of good information. Yes, great info. Can't wait for the next webinar. You know what? You know what the next webinar is? I am really fired up about it. It's going to be a webinar on how wellness can increase mental health. We're going to look at the research in that area. What's the evidence in support of these guidelines that we're talking about at improving mental health? And so I'm really excited about that because I'm in the midst of reviewing that research and putting slides together. That will be next week. I don't know when. I still have some work on it, but I promise you we'll be doing that next week. So physical health and mental health connections. Great information, outstanding webinar. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see, here we go. Excellent information as always. Thank you for all the information and training. As always, provide great information. Thank you, great. Okay, thank you guys. That's it, I guess. If you have resources, guidelines in any of these areas that you want to suggest to me, I would love to hear from you. Let me know. Send it to us at info@preventionpluswellness.com or go to our website, preventionpluswellness.com, and just click on that lower right-hand corner there, message us. Send us a resource. Maybe something you want to think should be added as a guideline for physical activity, nutrition, sleep, any of these items. And if you have another area you think we should include, another behavioral area in this whole arena, let me know what you're thinking of. I'd love to hear from you. I'm excited to attend the next webinar. Okay, well, thank you guys. All right, that's it. I am going to sign off. Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend. God bless you for all you do. Keep up the good work, everybody. And I'm looking forward to interacting with you in the next webinar. Do check out all that we have to offer. And if we can help anybody in any way, let me know. I'm looking forward to continuing the relationship with everyone. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. Take care.